All right, welcome in, everybody. Great opportunity to talk the world's game here tonight on the heels of Joe and Jeremy. So we appreciate everything going on with them today here. I'm going to talk to our good friend Brian McDonald here tonight as well. We got a lot to talk about. So I welcome you in. 713-780-3776, the number to call in. We stream at ESPN975.com. All right, I got a couple of guests tonight. FIFA writer Arch Bell will be on the show. Also, Nico Moreno, sounder at heart. He's a podcaster in Seattle, though, but not afraid to come with some opinion, Nico. I like him a lot. So Nico will be on the show tonight. We're going to talk about sort of the post-Seattle bump of World Cup, where the Sounders are. They're struggling. They've had a lot of injuries. But it's right now an off year for them. Then we'll go to Atlanta. Jason Longshore is going to call in from soccer down here. He's also a commentator for Atlanta United. So he'll call in the third segment here of the opening hour. So there you go. So after a summer that gave us the big stage in the sport, the World Cup, we're starting to feel that rhythm of the football calendar kicking in again. We're getting ready for the start of all the top leagues in Europe, where the players are coming back, signings arriving, managers putting their teams together, and we're getting that feeling again. It's coming closer and closer here. All supporters groups in Houston are lining up their bars and pubs for their football watching. So it's coming back. Wasn't going to be a long time where we were going to be away from the game, that's for sure. So I think the hangover from the World Cup is maybe going away. Teams have gotten better in the transfer windows. There are teams that have, well, just check this out from Newcastle, I guess. This is a perfect example. You lose Gordon, Guimaraes, and Tonali, three best players. You take in $319 million in transfers to Jordyland, but you've lost your three best players. And you can almost say to yourself in a promotion and relegation system, are we ever going to really have a shot at winning the title if we're always selling our best players? So that's where the label of you're a selling club. So there you go, Newcastle. No Gordon, no Guimaraes, and no Tonali, but they bank $319 million, and there's probably a lot of fans going, "Oh, it's great money. Look at the business we did. We did great business. We didn't win anything with them, right?" I can't even remember Newcastle United. Big Phil Parks was an exceptional goalkeeper. Played in England for Wolves. Over here in the North American Soccer League, he played for the Vancouver Whitecaps. They won an NASL title. Big man. Big man. He played on Vancouver, and I think he played in the first edition of the NASL too over here. My understanding was he never drove a car. His wife would drive him to practice, but that may or may not be right. I'll have to ask some of the guys that played with him, because I played against him when he was on a team called the Oklahoma City Slickers. That was the name of the team. So rest in peace, Phil Parks. He made the goal look small, that's for sure. And down the road, I have another good story about him. College game is back. Club football is back. Transfers are going on. We mentioned some of those. Bruno Guimaraes, Newcastle to Arsenal for $100 million. Morgan Rogers, Villa to Chelsea. Villa's losing some of their top players, $158 million. Elliot Anderson from Forest to City for $157 million. The amazing story of Jan Diomande from RB Leipzig to Real Madrid for $145 million. He's playing in the U.S. a couple of years ago, this kid. Gonzalo Ramos, PSG to Milan, $86 million. So if you're out there and you're a fan of some of these teams or other teams and you like some of the moves that have been made, call into the show tonight on the transfers. 713-780-3776. In Major League Soccer, we picked up a couple of big stars. Antoine Griezmann goes from Atletico Madrid to Orlando. Robert Lewandowski goes from Barcelona to Chicago. And there's going to be more. I think the World Cup, I would expect that there'll be more players that want to end their careers here in the United States for a lot of reasons. But one very simple reason, and that simple reason that was brought out by a player now that is playing in Major League Soccer. Junior Alonso is a player that has represented Paraguay. I saw this on X from a guy named Jose Prosopio. And this is Junior Alonso on the difference between MLS and South American football. Now, he's a Paraguayan international. He's also played in Russia, which is not an easy thing, despite the fact that there's a lot of money in Russia at that time. Atletico Mineiro in Brazil. So listen to what Junior Alonso says. And whether you're a Texans fan or Astros fan or Rockets fan, this doesn't happen to you, professional athlete in America. This doesn't happen to you. He says, quote, here, and he's talking about Major League Soccer, there isn't the same pressure. If a team were in Atlanta United's current situation in South America, Atlanta United's near the bottom of the Western Conference, just for full disclosure. He goes on to say the players wouldn't even be able to go out. Their cars would be burned. Alonso says that lack of pressure makes the experience in MLS very different, and that the intensity surrounding results simply isn't the same. Now, this isn't anything new. This isn't anything we don't know. It's just good to remind people of how different it is. This is a fascinating perspective when we talk about pressure. And I would say MLS, and I'm sure it's already being done, just go sell the game to South America and the different people. Say, hey, guys, come here. Nobody's going to burn your car. They're not going to recognize you. They're not going to bother you. Come to America, get paid well, play in a nice league, beautifully manicured fields, incredible infrastructure now. And it's love, 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 as Pelé once said. Love, love, love. And you will come here and you will enjoy playing in America. And you won't have to worry about the safety quite so much of your family. And you won't have to worry about your car being torched. This is why Messi's here and his family. And my gut is he's going to end up being in Miami a long time. No question about that. So it's a good perspective. It's an interesting one. And I think we're going to see more stars come. And I like seeing Antoine Griezmann in MLS. And I like seeing Robert Lewandowski in MLS. These guys are model professionals. I don't see them coming here to take a break and a vacation. Hector Herrera in 2023 carried the Dynamo. 2024, you could read it across his forehead. This is an off year for me. I'm going to collect my paycheck. I'm going to do enough. Yes, he was injured. I get it. But the Dynamo got played a bit that year in 2024 by Hector. Now he's back because he wants to be back in Houston. He loves it. He's only on $500,000. And he's an older, experienced player, can provide the guidance. And we'll see how it continues. He's become a starter as of late, and the Dynamo are winning games. That's for sure. I think they're 8-2-2 in their last 12, which is as good as anybody in Major League Soccer. I got some thoughts on them a little bit later. So Europe is revving its engines. College soccer's back. MLS is getting into the end of the season here run. NWSL is in the middle of its campaign. If you even know they exist in Houston, they don't. I don't know what they're doing over there. You don't hear from the GM. You don't hear from the president. Nobody ever asks them why they're irrelevant, and I feel bad for the players and the coaches. It's dead as can be. And you just wonder what the ambition is. And again, it's a lot of people from out of market, so they don't have skin in the game. And if they don't get any pressure from anybody, we just go on our merry way. Still can't score goals. They have acquired some good young talent. Cat Raider By the way, Doug Rader is her grandfather, the former Astro who played in the Astrodome. There's a story. Houston Dash.
I remember that name.
Yeah, let's tell the Houston Dash. Do a PR piece on that. That's a good one. Doug Rader. Yeah, I remember that name when I was a kid. That's her grandfather. She's a leading scorer for the Houston Dash. She played at Duke last year. She's a rookie. I think she's got 6. And they picked up some good ACC players, but their attack struggles in a big way, and nobody knows they're here. And if I'm a player, I want to play in front of people. I want to know my organization is not going on all these other platforms and talking about all these other things. I want to know that my GM's trying to put the team together. I want to know that my president wants to compete. I want to know that the marketing team is out in the community. This should be a haven for women's sports at Shell Energy Stadium. It should be an absolute meeting place and benefiting our community here, and it doesn't. And we've got soccer players that grow up in Houston on the women's side that are filling colleges and universities all over America. We got college programs at Houston Christian, Rice, and U of H. Nobody's tying this stuff together. And some of you may be going, well, I don't really care about women's soccer anyway. Yeah, but a lot of people do, and I do. All right, so we got the international game. We got the college game. It might be that time for Game On for 90. I'm a little raspy today. I'm a little acerbic today. That's why we're going with all the heavy rock music. I changed the entire playlist tonight. I think it's because I'm not feeling great. But, I'm fired up. Let's go.
Game on, man.
Here's Glenn Davis.
Game on.
With Game On for 90.
All right, I'm going to keep it around the same theme here tonight. I'm talking about owners, coaches, general managers, sporting directors, commissioners, athletic directors, team presidents, all that are supposed to be out front of their organizations. And they must stand up and say, when they are leaders and they have a problem, they have to say, hey, here's what happens. This is what I believe, and this is what we're going to do about it. This day and age, we got people that are hiding. We've created this incredible veil of secrecy. Everybody runs away, hopes it goes away when something controversial happens and suddenly nobody knows anything. Oh, we're looking into it. We're gathering information. We can't comment at this time. We're committed to an inclusive environment. It's all words. It's all rhetoric. It's not leadership. That's message management is what they call that. And I understand why it happens. Yeah, there's lawyers and sponsors and social media. Everybody is telling these people, don't say the wrong thing. But this is the problem. And this is the problem with this. If you're never willing to get uncomfortable, how's a product ever going to get better? If you're not going to get uncomfortable and put things on the table and have fair, real, respectful, inclusive conversations, then you're not a leader. You're just a caretaker, and you're a message manager. Look at what's happening in the WNBA. Legitimate questions about officiating, player relationships, the abuse, online, controversial issues. It is some of the most feckless and weak leadership I've ever seen. Even people inside the league are concerned about transparency and accountability. And this isn't just the WNBA. It's everywhere. We need commissioners that take hard questions. We need GMs that admit that they made a bad decision. We're all forgiving. We don't expect GMs to get it right every time. We need coaches that'll tell a player that you didn't play that well. We need executives that aren't terrified. Leadership is not about avoiding controversy. I'm in a place now where I want to see leaders, whether they're coaches, GMs, sporting directors. I don't want to see these people that are just in the game to be a wet noodle. Here's where we stand. You might be wrong. You might get criticized in these positions. You might make somebody upset and angry. But stop hiding behind the shield. Sports doesn't need more carefully carved out written statements and hiding and walking away from things. Sports needs a healthy dose of truthfulness. And I will tell you, our two soccer teams here, if we really want them to be better and you're really a fan of the team, you're going to want those things too. All right, 713-780-3776. That's Game On for 90. And along those lines, 10,000 free tickets were given out. Sounds fantastic, right? It's good promotion. You know what? We'll get back to that in a minute because I posted something from ABC Local. It's had 14,000 looks. Um, and it's just mind boggling that we make these mistakes that just, man, leave us in a bad spot. All right, 1802 bins, slip sliders. We had Rashid Rafai on the show yesterday, or sorry, last week, not yesterday. Best in sliders beef, chicken, the protein coming from salmon, Shrimp Shack. They're down at 1802 bins. So if you're going down to the park on a weekend, you go to the museums, Slip Sliders is a wonderful place to go. Super clean, super airy. It's all fresh ingredients. They're doing it right down there. He's building it right. And they support soccer. And they support soccer on the airwaves. They had the World Cup going on in there with a monitor in there and a corner with soccer stuff. So we appreciate Slip Sliders. Again, it's 1802 bins. By the way, you can get them on Uber Eats. What are the other ones? Uber Eats,
DoorDash and Grubhub.
DoorDash, and Grubhub. I've only done Uber Eats, so should I be loyal to them or should I do Grubhub?
I think they're all about the same.
Okay, they're all the same. I trust that guy. Okay, I may not.
Because I've used the other two, and they
sporting directors and owners and general managers, but I trust Brian McDonald with my life. All right, this is Aerosmith, brought to you by Cactus Music, the best in vinyl pre-owned and pre-loved, and all the reissues. You get your vinyl at Cactus Music. Aerosmith, no more, no more.
You're listening to Soccer Matters,
on ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
brought to you by the Daspit Law Firm. From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's Glenn Davis.
Cult of Personality by Living Color. Great hard rock band. We're going harder stuff tonight. Sorry, everybody. Saw them open for the Rolling Stones, I believe, in the Astrodome. And there was another band on the bill, Reflex. I think that was the Steel Wheels tour. Would I be right? 1989? Any music people out there, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a long time ago. I would have only been in Houston for a couple of years. All right, welcome back to Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, presented by John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm. Shout out to Hugh O'Connor's Pub. They are getting ready out there, much like Senate Avenue Brewing. Everybody's getting ready for the opening of the Premier League and all the European leagues and all these good, fun watch parties that continue to take place throughout Houston, even after the World Cup. It still rolls on. Soccer's a great place to be. Football's a great place to be. And looking forward to the start of all the leagues. This is a cool one from a supporters group in Houston. Check this out. So there's a supporters group called the Houston Blues who supports Chelsea. And I think it's Matt Pursley. Matt's been on the show, was up at Senate Avenue Brewing, right? Remember we had a bunch of Chelsea guys up there, Brian?
Yeah, they were loud.
Yeah, they were great. They turned out to. So they did a really cool thing. And I call this growing the sport, growing a brand, growing the fun around the football and the game. River Oaks Theater, tomorrow night, 2009 West Gray, they're airing a film called, it's the film, The Bridge film. The Bridge is Stamford Bridge, the home of Chelsea. It's at the River Oaks Theater, the legendary, which has been saved, thank goodness. And the Houston Blues Supporters Group is putting this on. Apparently it's sold out. I don't know how many tickets the theater holds, but that's going to be a great time. And just another great way, because here I am talking about it, another great way to support the sport. They may grow their group because of that. Very, very interesting, cool stuff. So good job, Houston Blues. Really I like that. That's a pretty cool thing. All right, so let's go back to these 10,000 free tickets. Sounds fantastic. It's great promo, right? Big wow factor. 10,000 free tickets. I don't think I've ever heard 10,000 free tickets given away. Have you, Brian?
No. I mean,
That's a lot.
Teams don't often publicize that. They'll give some away for sure, but they don't publicize it like that.
So why do you think the Dynamo would do that after the World Cup, giving
think they need
free
attention.
tickets away? Okay, well, they get attention by saying that. I don't think there's any question. Fantastic for those who get them. But here's the question nobody really asks is, what does that 10,000 mean actually financially? And the way it was positioned, it's like the mayor was giving them away, and it can't be the mayor. The mayor's not using public money for that. I don't think you as a taxpayer would want public money. There's no way they could be that ignorant. So it's coming from somewhere. Who's paying for the tickets? Now, if there are 10,000 tickets, and let's say they were $25 or $20, I don't know how you do this valuation in math. That's $250,000. So where are they coming from? And how many of these seats would have actually been sold? You get to announce 10,000 free tickets. You get a lot of wow factor. The Dynamo and Dash get to announce a 10,000 ticket community investment. It's a great, great headline. You get a lot of attention. But until somebody reminds us of the economics and simply just who paid for these and where are they coming from, it's a PR number then. And based on numbers in the Dynamo in the past, we know there's a little hocus pocus there. So if we're going to talk about growing soccer in Houston, you have to talk about the numbers and the headline. And instead of just 10,000 free tickets, you get the PR, you get the cameras. Well, ABC did a thing on it, local, and for full disclosure, they called me up and could you comment on this? I didn't comment really on the tickets, but I don't understand how you give 10,000 tickets away and you don't say where they came from. And nobody really asked the question. ABC kind of asked the question. Now, I don't know if the Dynamo have said anything since. I haven't seen anything. But why would you dodge where it's coming from? And maybe you can find something, Brian. I didn't find anything. And we got a lot of people calling in about or writing about this. Hard to imagine Astros or Texans front office dodging what should be an easy interview. Yeah, I just say where it came from. Why would you leave yourself open?
So the way I read this,
Okay, I'm interested.
Is the team is donating it to whatever action foundation or whatever that the mayor is running, and they're giving away in a partnership together.
Okay,
It's like a donation from the team.
Okay, when is that dated?
This was July 23rd. This is from the Dynamo's official website.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't say it at the press conference, but they didn't return the calls of local ABC. I don't know why.
Yeah, apparently it's supposed to be for first-time fans, and it's geared towards children, trying to get them to fall in love with the game.
You got every day to get them to fall in love with the game. I mean, you've been here for, okay. Yeah, it's a big headline. Who knows? You get people in the building. That's really what it is. It does look a little desperate to me after a World Cup, to be honest with you. But maybe you got to be desperate.
Yeah, because if they were selling out every game, they wouldn't be doing this.
I mean, yeah. Here's a guy, Rocket Sports says, offer tickets to families of local soccer clubs. It's the target audience to grow the youth interest. Yeah. So some people weighing in on it. Honestly, what I take away from it, I don't think that many people care. I think they like it the way it is. It's an investment. I think they want to be below the radar. You don't ever hear anybody really getting out in front talking, other than Ben Olsen in press conferences after the game. There's nobody really talking. Owners, I mean, maybe you don't expect the owner to talk, although he did get out in front in the off season. GM of the Dash, Angela, who I knew her as Angela Hughley. I think she's Magnano now. I don't see Angela doing much out front when it comes to the team. I see her on LinkedIn doing a lot of other stuff that's not related to the Houston Dynamo, which is kind of bizarre to me or the Dash, when you're only drawing 1,000 people. And like I said in the first segment, these players and coaches deserve better. If I was working for this organization, there was no way I would be not shamed seeing limited attendance at every game and hiring high school bands to make noise during action. I'd be trying to do more. I'd be going door to door around Houston. I would be dragging people to the game, much like Oliver Luck did, by the way. Oliver Luck went door to door. He went mano a mano. There's nobody in these in these two clubs doing that. Jessica O'Neill can't do it. They can't do it. And that's why you stay in your comfort zone. And then you get asked about the World Cup and you say, oh, the connectivity is amazing and the shared experiences. Well, everybody knew that was going to happen before the World Cup. This is nothing new. Give us something about how you're parlaying this into future success. And by the way, the Dynamo are playing good right now. They're 8-2-2 from a results standpoint. You got one of the hottest guys in the league, Guilherme. He's got 11 goals, 5 assists. Should have been a first ballot All-Star, no question about that. But I'd like to see the Dynamo now in this good period. You know, Ben Olsen or Pat Onstad, somebody come out and say, you know what? Hey, Dynamo fans, we're not taking it one game at a time. We're going to try to win the Western Conference this year. Say something big and bold. Set a higher bar, higher bar. This is the time to do it. You just can't sit here and exist, because if you sit here and just exist, then the real easy question comes to everybody, and that is, how badly do you really want it to work in Houston? Or is it simply about, we just make the playoffs, I'm doing my job? No, this is a club that everybody's got to extend beyond what they do and what their job description is if you're going to try to turn it around. Oh, I'll get some fans. Yeah, the crowds are better now. Yeah, okay, well, you got the Houston Comets coming here. Brian reminded me of that. You may have an NHL team coming here. You better be thinking ahead right now, and you better be grooming your market, and it just doesn't happen. But from a competitive standpoint, somebody step up and say, we want to win the Western Conference. You don't even have to say MLS Cup. Say Western Conference. Set the bar. You got the resources. You've got a better roster. Granted, we're Team South America in Houston. It's all Brazilians and Argentines now. That's the way we're going here. That's the prerogative of the guys running the team. Pat Onstad, Ben Olsen, and Asher Mendelson. They have the right to put the team together, along with the owner, the way they want. So if they want to go all South America, that's fine. And I think a lot of people won't mind that. Some might. Some might say it's an easier route than involving local players and those in our youth community and those that could be great marketing tools, let alone resources that were proudly developed here in Houston. I mean, we all know if you were developed in Houston here and you're making the first team, and I'm not just saying sign a contract, but actually playing in a role of responsibility, and then one day maybe going to Europe, and you were developed in Houston, it's marketing gold. But that takes a lot of effort. And if nobody ever gets to the first team, you have to question everything, right? To be fair, how good is the player development system at the Dynamo? Guys in the development system there, I'm not bagging on you, because I know you, as much as I, want to see Houston kids put through. And who knows, the door may be closed on you, because the competitive side and all the thinking is saying, nah, we're not focused on that. We're focused on South America. We're going to try to recreate Mikael. We're going to bring guys in. We're going to park them in Dynamo 2. The Dynamo are showing you what type of team they are. Park those guys there. We're going to try to recreate the Mikael situation, get South Americans, and hopefully sell some of them on in some cases. Some of them, like the Marcelo Sirachi signing, that may be for win now. And that's actually a good signing, because that gives you an option at left back. He played at Celtic. He was on loan from Boca Juniors. He's got a history. Sounds like a very good player. I haven't seen him play a lot myself. But if he is, he's being brought here to be a starter, nothing else. And if he is a starter, that means it's going to give Ben Olsen a lot more tools, a lot more versatility to do different things. So that's a out-and-out move to try and really move things forward. Augustine Resch. It's been fun watching him grow. College player, 6'6", Argentine. He's got to score more goals. If he does, he'll get noticed. You might be able to sell him on and make some money one day. He's improved with the ball. He's been a bit more composed. In the beginning, he was pretty naive. But that's the way it works. You come in naive, you start getting more polished. He's gotten the opportunity to play over and over. And we're not even talking about Eric Sviatchenko anymore and other center backs. This is Kiss Deuce. I hope some people speak up about this stuff, because if not, I'm thinking MLS interest is really where I think it is, not very high here. I'd love that to change. You might. 713-780-3776, 713-780-3776. Can I give away some tickets to the listener appreciation party?
We can. Yeah.
And we're down at St. Arnold's, right?
St. Arnold's on Friday, August 28th.
Oh, it's going to be
6:30
fun.
start.
I might bring some soccer goodies to that.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to meeting some of the people down
We
there.
got food from Nifa's and Ducky McSweeney so far.
Very, very good.
More to come.
Very good. More to come. All right. So let's give a pair away right now. Caller number 3, 713-780-3776. Pair of tickets to the Listener Appreciation Party. It's Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, presented by John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm.
You're listening to Soccer Matters,
On ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
brought to you by the Daspit Law Firm. From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's Glenn Davis.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5. Phone lines lighting up when we give the listener appreciation pair of tickets away, so that's good. We will give some more away over the next couple of shows as we head towards that date at the end of the month. That's a lot of fun. There's just food, beer, people mixing. All the show hosts will be there. People from marketing and program directors, all of the heavy hitters will be there for that one. I think even our owner, Mr. David Gow, usually is there. Brian McDonald will be there. You're going to want to meet him.
Who doesn't?
I know. You'll be the first guy I'm going to. If they haven't met you at Senate Avenue Brewing already. All right, Senate Avenue Brewing, big shout out to them. 16,000 Dillard. That's up 290. You take the Senate Avenue exit. We've had all those great live shows there. That's Andrew Mitchum. All of that beer is award-winning beer. It's all brewed in-house. It's exceptional craft beer. He's got so many different varieties. They're always conjuring up something different and new, but it's exceptional. It's fresh, and so is the food there. It's a great spot, great outdoor patio. They were really knocking it out of the park during the World Cup. Had some really, really big crowds up there, and was happy for them because they have put their dollars and their faith behind the sport of soccer. And they continue to do watch parties for the Dynamo up there and also other games. So don't forget to head up there. Senate Avenue Brewing, 16,000 Dillard, and it is award-winning craft beer. It's worth it and worth the drive. All right, let's go down to Atlanta, Georgia. Jason Longshore joins us now. He's one of the commentators on the radio broadcasts for Atlanta United and the founder, or one of the founders, and he will correct me, of Soccer Down Here, which is an exceptional show. Jason, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on again.
Let me correct that. He is the founder of Soccer Down Here. There we go. How about that, Jason?
There's a few of us. I'll share it. There's a few of us.
Yeah, you guys have done some great work. All right, so give me the overview here. Atlanta, to me, is one of the most interesting soccer markets in the country right now. There's a lot going on there. World Cup boost. You got all the connection with Arthur Blank. You got Atlanta United. You got a women's team coming. You've got the U.S. soccer facility there. I mean, what don't you have? And just give us a quick, maybe a minute and a half, 2-minute overview of what Atlanta is right now soccer-wise.
It's been crazy having grown up here to see just what I've been able to be a part of over the last, probably 3 months. We got to see the new training facility for U.S. Soccer open, and it's amazing. And we've been able to see youth national team matches from there and do some broadcasts, and it's just an incredible facility that U.S. Soccer's never had. The World Cup, 8 games, packed pretty much every game, fans from all over the world. I think Atlanta ended up having one of the better tournaments as a host city, with both fans coming in, the atmosphere, the games that we had as well, especially in the knockout round. MLS has been here since season 10. NWSL starts in 2028. Also, underneath all that, I get out and do as much as I can in terms of the high school and the college game, and seeing those levels, especially the high school game, which I really look at as like the real grassroots of soccer in this country. Seeing the high school game draw over 1,000 people for state championship games and some regular season games as well. It's just really, really healthy across the entire spectrum right now in Atlanta. The results aren't healthy on the Atlanta United side, but the health of the business of the sport that we care about so much is in a really good spot at the moment.
So apparently Atlanta United last year, according to Forbes, averaged 41,000 per game in 2025. Is that a legitimate number?
The legitimate number in terms of tickets distributed, in terms of people showing up, not from what it looks like.
Yeah, because I looked at some of the games, and it didn't look like, I had the good fortune of calling some games there, when it was in the early years, and it was just unbelievable. It was like something, I stepped into something that I had not stepped into before in MLS, with those types of crowds, the whole pomp and circumstance, players walking through a tunnel and suits on with a red tie and connecting with the fans. It's just so many great things going on there. What's going on with Tata Martino and this team right now?
I mean, when you go to the crowds and how they've changed, it is purely down to results. And I think we saw it in that playoff run in 2024 where you make a run, get the series with Miami, and it's full again. I think there's just a lot of people waiting to see, all right, am I going to commit every weekend to this right now? And the last 2 seasons have been rough. The last match in Philadelphia is one of the roughest that I've ever called, where you go down a man early in the first half, you score twice with 10, and then somehow still lose the match, giving up 2 goals in stoppage time.
Jeez.
I'm really curious to see how they look this weekend and how they respond to that emotionally. But what I keep coming back to with this team right now, and I think everything kind of dovetails with this, you haven't had a elite striker in terms of performance for 2 years now. Yorgos Giacomakis left for Cruz Azul summer of 24. Really kind of when he wanted out and wanted a huge contract after one successful year here, it affected Gonzalo Pineda's time here, and that ultimately came to an end. And you don't have a threat in the attack. And I think in this league especially, you have to have an attack because that's where you're going to spend your money in a cap league. And they've spent money, and it hasn't worked out. Emmanuel Lattelat did not work out. He's on loan to the Bundesliga now. You have to get a striker. You have to have a threat in the attack for, in my opinion, to even really be able to evaluate the rest of it.
Who
because
brought,
right now,
who brought
this is
him
a bad
in?
scoring team.
Let me just back you up, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Who brought in Emmanuel Lat? Who brought him in? Whose decision was that to bring him? Because that was real money spent on him.
It was. It's a real question because Chris Henderson came into Atlanta United late 2024, and Lattelat, I believe, was signed 4 to 6 weeks after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine that he was not being talked to before that and had not been identified.
Yeah, and I'm not bagging on I'm not bagging on anybody, but because people miss on players. I mean, the Dynamo missed on their 2 prior DPs. Now they've nailed one, and this guy Guilherme now. And to your point of you have to have a dynamic goal scorer. And I got sick and tired of hearing over the years people say, well, we're going to do it by committee. Well, when you're going to do it by committee means you just don't have a goal scorer. And that's going to be really a difficult thing to do. So, you know, the Dynamo are a completely different team, are looked at completely differently now, simply because they have this one incredibly dynamic guy. And this is not taking anything away from all the other roster moves and signings, the Bogushes of the world. But this is a DP that's hitting it. He's going to break 15 goals this year. And he may break the record of 19 held by Mauro Manotas of most goals in a season. It is definitely possible, but it's just amazing what one player can do from an attacking standpoint to just make you look and change your complexion, and that's with all the other signings as well.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the 15-goal mark. That was what I said coming into the season. I was like, you have to get 15 goals from your striker to be a playoff team. And I feel like in this league, that's really the bar. And Atlanta hasn't been able to do that. And it's so frustrating when you go into games where, and you've seen this over the years in this league, where it's not always an easy league for every player to come in and fit. It's a unique league. There's a lot of peculiarities of it that some players really fit into and maybe don't fit into another league. Some players come here after killing it in a different league, whether it's Mexico, whether it's England, second division, whether it's elsewhere in Europe. And they just don't match up to it. It doesn't fit them. It doesn't suit them. Something else is going on with them. And it's a miss and it's a bust. And Atlanta United now has gotten Lattelat off the roster, and you're able to go sign a designated player. And we've seen this club spend money many times over the years, and the players they've been linked to would require spending a decent bit of money. We'll see if any of them get done and how urgent you are to try to get something immediately right now with the interesting calendar that we're looking at ahead.
Yeah. Now, any rumors of players that Atlanta United are talking to from that standpoint, Jason?
The ones that were reported out of Europe, you had Romelu Lukaku's name come up. Now he's gone elsewhere. You had Darwin Nunez's name come up. You've had Briel Mboldo's name come up, and he's still out there. You've had Morata's name come up as well. So those are the 4 that have been reported out of Europe that have had links to Atlanta United. That's the kind of caliber you're talking about that, again, is being linked. We don't know. Obviously, nobody here is going to talk about that. So
I don't think Lukaku is signed for – he hasn't signed for Fenerbahce yet. They're saying it's going to happen because I know Fenerbahce in Turkey was trying to get Lukaku. So I don't think that's
Yeah,
officially been
Nunez was
done.
linked to Turkey as well.
Yeah, it seems to be a landing point for a lot of players. We're talking to Jason Longshore,
Mm-hmm.
soccer down here from Atlanta. Always love having him on the show. All right, so much respect for Tata Martino, what Atlanta United has done in the past. This second go round with him, how is he handling all of this? I'm just very curious. Have you seen a difference in him from his first stint with Atlanta United to this second one?
Not really. I think he's been really calm, which has been, I don't want to say surprising, but he has really, I think he just gets it. And, I've talked to him before games, after games, and he understands the situation. And it really just goes back to that roster overhaul and bringing in some guys, some young Argentines this year at fullback that I think are starting to come good, and Tomas Jacob and Elias Baez. They've just added a Uruguayan central midfielder that is pretty highly valued out of South America as a U22 signing. He won't be ready just yet this weekend. Then you added a couple veteran center backs. So that's 5 guys, and you still have to solve the striker position. I think he understands coming in the door when he got here before the season that it wasn't going to be a snap your fingers and everything is fine. He wanted to try to solve the striker position. Latte Lot, he gave him all kinds of different opportunities, and I really think the confidence was just gone. So you couldn't get production there. And now they're moving on. And again, the calendar is the interesting thing here because, we've seen it over the years. Tata Martino doesn't last very long in any spot. He likes to be there for a short cycle and move on. With the sprint season next spring and then a full season after that, is he going to be here to be the guy to rebuild this group over the next 18 months? Well, really 24 if you include the rest of this season. That's what you're looking at. And I think the calmness makes me feel like, okay, he gets it. He knows what the job is going to be, and he wants to be that guy to set this club back up for success.
Jason, do me a favor because you brought something up interesting. Explain the sprint season, and do you think the sprint season could be a little bit dangerous in potentially losing MLS fans?
I don't think it'll lose fans, but I'm curious to see how it's portrayed because I don't like the naming of it, first off. I don't like calling it a sprint season.
No.
It makes it feel like it's not a real season. But that's the name that's been pushed. It's going to be 14 games. You play everybody in your conference. There will be a playoff. There will be an MLS Cup champion. It's the bridge to get you to the shift in the calendar. And I think there's potential to create a lot of excitement around it because you're going to have a lot of fans who maybe haven't followed MLS as closely, who follow Mexico, who follow leagues in South America, and are used to this kind of a situation with a shorter season and a playoff after it, kind of like your Apertura Clausura. I think it can create a lot of urgency for those 14 games. What I'm curious to see
there's
clubs
there's going to be consequence. You're not going to have a bad start and recover in a 14-game schedule,
Nope.
I don't think. So
No time.
I think that's from that standpoint, you bring up an amazing point. It's going to be fascinating. Jason, can I ask you, can you hang in here with me, or do you have other obligation?
I can.
Can you go
for
to a
another
break?
segment if you need me.
All right, let's do it. Let's keep it going. We'll come back with the sprint season. We'll come back with Jason Longshore, soccer down here in Atlanta. Always love having him on the show. We're going to take a quick break here. This is the legendary Mark Farner, Grand Funk Railroad. We're an American band. All right, welcome back, everybody. Second hour of Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, Lone Star Sports and Entertainment. That's LSSE.net. Well, Lone Star Sports and Entertainment, big part of executing this incredible World Cup matches that were played here in Houston, 7 of them over at Reliance Stadium. Of course, we had to call it Houston Stadium during that time. Lone Star Sports and Entertainment is the entity that brings through all the great big matches and soccer content to Houston. So a big shout out to Lone Star Sports and Entertainment. And let's not forget, we got a lot of amazing content that comes through both Energy and Shell Energy Stadium. We got 2 pro teams here. We got the college game. We got the youth game. We've got all the assets and resources to make our 2 pro teams even bigger and better. It's a good thing. If you didn't have resources, that's one thing. But we've got so many people that have the cultural ownership of this game that play, coach, referee. They're the ones that brought the World Cup here with their ticket buying and everything else. So it's always a shout out to them. A couple of quick things, and then we're going to get back to Jason Longshore. Instagram, Real Ryan says, sprint season sounds like Apple TV synergy since it sounds like a sprint race in F1. Comment from YouTube from Oscar Sanchez. Is Houston looking to bring in an additional striker this window? I don't know. They just brought in Duncan McGuire. I don't know about that. I believe all their DP slots are held. I think they're hoping that Ponce can come good. We'll see if that happens because Graham Cracker asked about that. Why are the Dynamo still playing Ponce? Your rookie center back has more goals than Ponce. Okay, there's a little dig there from Graham Cracker. But you do pay DPs for goals, and we were just talking to Jason Longshore about goal scorers and the importance of it, and Atlanta United certainly in the market for one. No question about it. So we bring back Jason Longshore of Soccer Down Here, also color commentator for Atlanta United on the radio. So just any more observations on this sort of sprint season? I think you bring up a great one. I love the fact that it's 14 games and there's real consequence, and somebody's going to be able to say they won an MLS Cup, right?
Yeah, it gets you into CONCACAF. It's a real MLS Cup. It's not a fake season. I do think the name kind of does feel like a little bit of a marketing exercise, like one of the listeners was saying. And I'll also throw in that looking at the forward room for Houston right now, I'm very envious from here in Atlanta when you add somebody like Duncan McGuire. I like that pickup for the Dynamo a lot because he had really bad luck with that move that almost landed him in England. He went back to Orlando after they had already replaced him. It was always awkward. Then he had a bad shoulder injury that he is probably fully recovered from now, but Orlando was never going to look at him the same after he almost left. I think that's a great second striker for Houston behind Guilherme, and I think it really solves if you're looking for somebody else to take some of the scoring load off or be that guy off the bench. I think he can be that player for Houston.
Well, he's going to have to get more opportunity to be that player, but yeah, we did see him. Wisconsin, is that where Duncan McGuire played?
I want to say Notre Dame.
Was it Notre Dame? Hold on, we got to check.
I could be wrong.
Duncan McGuire. Who am I confusing him with? Now, what do you think of the 3 U.S. players now at Middlesbrough? I think this is a fantastic story.
Oh, I love that. And
Sebastian Berhalter
really
and Aiden Morris, and talk to me about how you feel about that.
I was really impressed with Berhalter this summer. I think it's great for Middlesbrough to kind of tap into, I think, 3 guys that they get that all were somewhat undervalued when they added them, especially Berhalter, because he's in the last year of his contract and he's able to walk for free at the end of it. You go ahead and get him now for really a pittance because he turned into, with the World Cup team, I thought the first guy outside the starting 11. Thought he was very good. He's incredible talent on set pieces. But I think he's a good overall two-way midfielder. And you get 3 guys there who all know one another, all are comfortable with one another. And I think that will help all of them play to their full potential. It'll help Middlesbrough get attention here in the U.S., help their branding, probably help their sponsorship a little bit. Just makes a lot of sense. And I think you're seeing more and more now, and whether we're talking Berhalter to Middlesbrough, whether we're talking Xavier Gozo to Crystal Palace, which was a huge outlay of cash from Palace, but also the reported sell-on fee is very high as well. I think a lot of leagues and teams around the world are starting to look at players that are getting experience in MLS and doing well and saying, you know what, that's a really good spot to go buy players right now.
Well, Middlesbrough obviously sees the U.S. market as a talent market, much like we're looking at South America, I think. To me, that's very significant. They're acquiring players that they think can increase in value. Sebastian Berhalter's World Cup certainly helped him. I think you have to say MLS is definitely a feeder to the English Championship, right? Because Morrison.
I think it's very comparable.
Yeah.
I think in terms of, outside of the yo-yo teams that are going to have a different kind of budget, I think in terms of the level, it's very comparable. And there's not a huge adjustment period for guys to go over there and for guys from there to come here. And it's funny, we're talking Middlesbrough, we were talking Emmanuel Latte-Lot before. That's where he came from. And he didn't make the adjustment from Middlesbrough, where he was great, to Atlanta, where he struggled. It's not always like for like, but I think the two leagues are very similar in terms of overall level.
And I think it's you bring up a great point. I mean, Middlesbrough could become America's team now. You're going to open up potential commercial opportunities, greater visibility for them. I know I'm going to tune into the English Championship and watch Middlesbrough, and I'm going to call my friend in Middlesbrough and ask him about what's going on, how the American players are taking to the league, and how the fans feel they are doing. But that's a very young manager. I think he's maybe 38 years old, Kim Helberg, and young manager, and he's picked up 3 American players, including Max Dorfson, so it's good stuff. Jason, got to let you go. That music means I got to get to break. Thank you so much for everything tonight. Great insight. A lot of fun chatting with you, as always, and let's do it again real soon.
Definitely. Anytime you need me, I'm here. Thank you.
And say hello to that guy, John Nelson, down there.
I will.
All right. He's Jason Longshore. Thank you to Jason for coming on here tonight. Atlanta's a really happening place right now. We're a happening place in soccer. We still got some moves we can make here to make it even better and be a big part of that. But what a soccer community we have here as well. We're going to go to Seattle next. Nico Moreno's going to come on the show from Sounder at Heart. He's a well-known podcaster up there, has great takes. He's got unafraid takes. And we're going to talk about Seattle because they're stumbling a bit now, too, and they have reasons for that. This is Ozzy Osbourne, Mississippi Queen. Big thank you to Nico. Nico's Greek and American Cafe, Cactus Music, Senate Avenue Brewing, also Hugh O'Connor's Pub, and a big shout-out to our great friends at Slip Sliders and LSSE.net, Lone Star Sports and Entertainment. All right, to the Pacific Northwest we go when we come back.
there's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of look, it's fun to have the homegrown kid because you feel like he's going to give you the home discount. But when you're putting him at a DP level in a salary cap based league, it becomes to weigh on him. And when you're unavailable and you're unable to stay healthy and maybe you're struggling a bit in front of goal, that's going to really cause your team some discomfort. And I feel like that's one that needs to be looked at moving forward. At his age, with his history of injuries, that's one that a lot of people and a lot of discord kind of surrounds that area. Albert Rusnak, he's a phenomenal player. Love the guy, but he's a talent amplifier. He's a guy that needs guys around him. He's never going to take over a game all on his own. He's not going to put the team on his shoulder. And sometimes those DP level talents, that's what you need. You need the Nadim Mwangas, you need the Hugo Kuipers, you need the Griezmanns, you need someone that's going to take over a game all on their own.
I would add to that list in Houston, a player that came out of nowhere that nobody knew a lot about, Guilherme from Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
Who makes opponents completely look different at the Houston Dynamo. He's pushed them into a place where this is a playoff team now. The roster build has been better. The two prior center forward DPs have been failures, Sebastian Ferreira and Ezekiel. By the way, we'll give you Ezekiel Ponce. You need a DP out in Seattle? We'll give you a center forward that has yet to score a goal this year. And we'll take Dwayne De Rosario's son, Oseis De Rosario. We'll bring that name to Houston. I'm just joking, and I say that respectfully to Ponce. Yeah.
No, I love Ponce. Ponce's, nice guy. Got to meet him when Nicolas Dodero was here in his last stunt with Houston. But we definitely don't need strikers that cannot score. That's kind of the biggest issue for this team right now is the strikers' inability to not put the ball away. So we don't need one more of those. And finally here, Pedro de la Vega, he was a prospect, someone that you wanted to maybe build something around, but unfortunately he gets another injury just now, quad injury. He's had knee injuries. He's had hamstrings. It's been a never ending.
So let me ask you about him, Nico, because he showed some real flashes that I could see as a real tease to get people really excited about him, right? In fact, I remember that against Houston maybe last year or at some point. So did he have an injury-prone history before coming to Seattle? And does the artificial surface play into that?
Not to this degree. So there was definitely a concern that he was a guy that the Sounders got on a deal because, look, he was being looked at by Arsenal and Manchester City, and he was part of the U20 with Argentina. So the talent was there, but he ends up having a knee injury that completely derailed that development from that particular time. So the Sounders got him at a cost on the low, and he was a very good talent. And there was some concern of injury, but not to this level. Whether the turf has anything to do with it or not sure, because he got hurt. Like one of the injuries he had was in New York, where he had his last knee injury. The Sounders have a deeper problem than turf. If you look at the 8 injuries that are currently with the team, the constant setbacks to Jordan Morris, to Yemer Gomez Andrade, who first had a hamstring and then now it's a calf. Brian Smetzer has gone on record and said that they're trying to investigate what it is about their training patterns or their medical staff that has caused all these injuries. But when it comes to Pedro de la Vega, regardless of all of that, because it's not an isolated incident, it still wears down on a player where you do kind of point at, is it time to move on from this player? So as much as there is probably a bigger issue at a club level, it does feel like Pedro de la Vega's time with the Sounders, he's been so plagued with injuries that it's hard to see light at the end of the tunnel or a time where he's going to be completely healthy because he was such an interesting player, so phenomenal.
He had flashes where you're just like, wow, this could be something special. By the way, we're talking to Nico Moreno at El Rolo NW on X. What Brian Schmetzer said was pretty refreshing because most coaches wouldn't come out and say, well, we're going to check internally what we may be doing wrong here that could possibly, and I say possibly, contribute to injuries. Most coaches aren't going to go there because, it's sensitive and they don't want to ruffle feathers or make it look like we're not doing something right, which we all know nobody's perfect. I find that refreshing.
Yeah, look, Brian's just a class act. He understands what he needs to say, and he's at a position of power. He's such a big voice in the organization, in the area. I mean, to the point that after a 7-game losing streak, right, that was finally ended against Querétaro just this week, he never felt like his seat was hot, or he didn't feel any sort of pressure because the team started so well because of him. He's coming from a season where not only did you get a title in Leagues Cup, but you had the most goals in the best offensive stats in terms of club history last season. So he knows he's got some leadway, but it all goes back to him understanding that he's got to stay composed. And sometimes that composure can be looked at as complacent or as somebody that's not worried, but he definitely cares. I mean, you've seen him talk after the Portland loss, the first one, the 5-1 defeat, where he was like, I haven't shaved, I'm not eating. Like, he really cares about this team beyond just his job. And I think that's what makes him such a very good and important figure in soccer here for the Sounders.
Again, not something that everybody has the luxury of having. This is a guy that, I'm going to say this, is super authentic. He's authentic with the press. But the other part of it is, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, so this is just my judgment, but my judgment is, growing up in Seattle, his father had a soccer store. He played for the Sounders. All the things that tie him to the community puts a very healthy pressure on him to want to succeed, because he wants to succeed not only for the club and himself, but also for the entire community. And I think that's just, how would you even put this? This is just an element that we don't have that here. We don't have that here. And I don't think a lot of markets have that to the extent of Seattle. And I think that is a very powerful piece.
I think it's remarkable. And to your point, we're in the day and age where everyone wants the big name, right? Everybody wants Gallardo coming in, or, if you could, and you had the ability to do so, Guardiola, or, whoever, right? But the Sounders have a guy in Brian Smetzer that, as you mentioned, cares beyond just his job and just wants to see soccer grow in his community. And he talks about all kinds of things in terms of the city, and he's never afraid to talk about things beyond soccer. And that has really pushed this team at a different side. I mean, you remember that he took over for Siggy Smith, rest in peace, in a moment where the club was in a difficult time, and he takes that team that was bottom of the league and then struggling. They win that 2016 league, and then moves on and has the most successful 10-year span in MLS history. I mean, they were almost close to a dynasty. I remember asking about them becoming a dynasty at one point. They won CONCACAF, they won everything with Brian Smetzer. So he's been a key part of the history of this club and the success that he's currently on. And, whether right now, as you mentioned, is sometimes is hard to fathom when you're maybe looking from the outside in, that anybody could be critical of the team or the ways or Brian. The expectations here in Seattle are extremely high. So when you're in a losing streak that's been unprecedented, it can get some questions to be asked, and he can get people to be extremely frustrated. But at the end of the day, I think we have it pretty good here in Seattle.
You do, Nico. By the way, he's the type of guy that one day after his coaching career could be a great president of U.S. soccer. I think of someone like that is the type of person that could be a real benefit for the game, even in a bigger way overall. Nico, I want to thank you very much for coming on tonight. As always, we appreciate all your hard work and your good reporting, and we'll get you to relocate to Houston and start covering the Dynamo. How about that? You ready to do that?
Hey, man, you know what? Houston is a beautiful city, and the way the housing market is, I honestly would not mind over there. But I do like my PNW, man. I like this kind of gloomy weather. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. I like that. I'm too much of a Washingtonian, I think, to move anywhere else, including Colombia, man. I mean, I'm born and raised in Colombia. I don't think I could do it, man. It's just too hot.
Well, our hearts go out today to all the Colombians because of the earthquake that is horrible. Nico, thank you very much for coming on tonight. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Glenn.
All right. Nico Moreno, Seattle-based writer, podcaster, analyst. You know him from Sounder at Heart. You can follow him on X at El Rolo NW. We're going to take a break here. Before we do, I want to remind you about Slip Sliders, 1802 Bins, right down near the zoo, Herman Park, the museums. Perfect spot to hit up when you come down into that area. By the way, they're made to order, so these are the best in sliders. They have all the proteins, burger, beef, chicken, shrimp, salmon. Speaking of the Pacific Northwest, they're on DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. It is Slip Sliders, 1802 Bins, right down near the zoo. And Nico's Greek and American Cafe. 3 locations, Woodlands, Beltway, I-10. You can get the gyros and souvlaki plates there. You name it, they have it. Dolmas, hummus, spanakopita, all the kebabs and the lamb shanks, gyros, souvlaki plates. They have everything. By the way, I'm going over there today to get some of the chicken soup because I got some allergies or something going on. Great chicken soup there. You lemon it up big time. And then they've got the coffees and pastries. It's Nico's Greek and American Cafe. Stay with us. We have more to come here. It's Soccer Matters, ESPN 97.5, presented by the Daspit Law Firm. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Glenn Davis Sock.
If you want a career with stability, purpose, and room to grow, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 66 in Houston, is ready to meet you. For over 125 years, they've trained the professionals who keep our electrical grid running strong. High wages, full family health insurance, and retirement planning are just the beginning. Send your son, daughter, grandchild, or come yourself. Visit 4345 Allen Genoa Road in Pasadena or go to IBEW66.com. Powering careers, powering the future, IBEW66.com.
St. Arnold, they have a beer for everyone. They also have a space for everyone. Lance Zerline here. If you're planning a wedding, company party, or birthday bash, St. Arnold has a space for you. For events with 20 to 300 people, choose the Cozy Investors Pub or the spacious beer hall. Enjoy fresh St. Arnold beer, plus wine, cider, root beer. Their in-house chef creates everything from appetizers to full feasts. Book your holiday party now for prime dates. Visit StArnold.com, click private events. Make sure you go to StArnold.com, click private events. Hey guys, Lance Zerline here. I went into Dr. Kaplan's office and I had my deviated septum fixed and had balloon sinuplasty, clearing out those chronic sinus issues. I had it all done in one visit. A month later, I'm breathing perfectly. The deviated septum is fixed. Nothing could be better. It's amazing. It's a great change in my quality of life. You can do the same thing. Medicare and insurance plans cover this. Call 713-903-8049, 713-903-8049, or visit kaplansinusrelief.com. Breathe well, live well.
Whether you're buying a home or you're refinancing, Kent Jones at Dream Rate Mortgage is the guy for you. He's done over 1,400 closings. He's been in it for 30 years. He knows all the hacks. He can save you thousands and thousands of dollars. He does it all the time. Dream Rate Mortgage is the way to go. Shop your loan. Kent Jones loves that. Dream Rate Mortgage, 975loans.com. That's 975loans.com.
Dream Rate Mortgage, LLC, NMLS number 2482473. J. Kent Jones, NMLS number 356118. Equal housing lender.
Howdy, Ags. Andrew Monaco, voice of the Aggies here for HRMP, a proud partner of Aggie Athletics. For nearly 25 years, HRMP has been protecting the interests of Aggie-owned businesses. HRMP provides comprehensive human resource services, including HR compliance, benefits administration, and payroll. If you're an Aggie-owned business, let HRMP customize a plan to eliminate your HR burdens. Learn more by visiting hrp.net/AGS. That's hrp.net/AGS today.
Danny, what's going on with you in the Met Museum in New York?
Well, it's complicated.
Tell me anyway.
They've had this collection of guns from the 1500s on display for a long time.
Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan and Henry VIII were alive in the 1500s.
That collection has been on loan to the museum for a long time, and now the family who owns it has decided to sell it.
Are you gonna bid on it?
No.
Why not?
I already bought it.
Are we going up there to pick it up?
As soon as you call the airlines.
Danny, this sounds like it could be exciting.
Clara, this is definitely exciting.
The best gun shops in America are in Texas, of course. Collector's Firearms. Right on the corner at With Timer in Voss and Houston on Alpha Road in Dallas. 1 block east of the tollway. Collector's Firearms.
Get world-class Texas barbecue from pitmaster and chef Arash Karat at J-Bar M Barbecue. Dig into legendary brisket, house-made sausage, and all your barbecue favorites. Enjoy $15 buckets of beer and $4 well drinks every Friday and Saturday. Plus, meet our amazing J-Bar M team, including GM Hoffy Ferreira, and say hello to our owner, John Toomey. Visit J-Bar M Barbecue at 2201 Leland in the heart of Edo. Learn more at jbarmbbq.com and follow on socials at jbarmbbq.
800-451-4785. 800-451-4785. That's 800-451-4785.
This is Soccer Matters, brought to you by the Daspit Law Firm. From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's Glenn Davis.
All right, welcome back to Soccer Matters on ESPN 97.5. A couple of quick business deals here we got to get off the table here today, but we are very appreciative of all of our sponsors. Let's start with John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm. It's daspitlaw.com. 713, call now. Nobody wants to get in any type of an accident, of course, but there are times you need a good personal injury attorney. John and his firm, they are the best. They have been supporting soccer coverage and Soccer Matters year after year after year. It's Daspit Law Firm, daspitlaw.com. Car, boat, motorcycle. You might drive an 18-wheeler, maritime. You get in an accident, you get the best. It is John Daspit and the Daspit Law Firm. And we're getting the best ended up here tonight. He is Arch Bell. He currently is a reporter, editor. He writes for FIFA, but you have known him many, many years writing for CONCACAF, Marca, ESPN. He's been a color commentator on San Antonio FC games. You name it, he's done it. He joins us now. Arch, how are you?
Great, Glenn. It's so good to be with you.
Well, you know what? I'm preparing. I'm very intense preparing. I don't remember what game it was, but one of the World Cup games out at that time, it was Houston Stadium. Now it's back to Reliant. And I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and I see a beautiful, smiling Arch Bell. And it was just really cool to catch up there and to see you doing your work on the World Cup. And that was a really pleasant surprise. That was fun.
It was great, Glenn. And I really enjoyed the games that I did in Houston. I ended up working 2 games in Houston. And just you could just tell, just even from those 2 games, the energy in the stadium, the vibe just from in the city and all around the stadium, it was just terrific.
You know, like you, and you went to other stadiums, I know, and you can let us know which ones you went to. But the other interesting thing to me was, you know, when you're getting in there early like we are, and you're watching a stadium that's literally empty, and you start to see workers come in, people in media taking their positions. Now all of a sudden there's more of a crowd, and there's things on the scoreboard with the team buses coming. It's just amazing to watch that process leading up to a 12 noon or a little bit after 12 noon kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, right? Because as you said, we get there crazy early, to get seated and everything, to get ready. And you just feel like the excitement, the electricity, and yeah, they show the team coming off the bus and you get the cheers there. And then, when the teams come out for warmups, covering all these World Cup games, you kind of get used to the rhythm of like, okay, they're showing the bus on the big screen. Now the players are at the stadium. Now they're coming out for warmups. And it really leads up to that climax of the teams coming out and the anthems. It really became one of my favorite things, actually, of the entire World Cup, was just that very end with the anthems and the build-up and then the kickoff. It was so special every game.
Agree 100%. And by the way, the execution where I was, and I'm sure it was this way around the country and in Canada and Mexico, but the execution at Energy Stadium or Houston Stadium at the time by all those involved, including volunteers, was was pretty exceptional. And I'm like you. I love the anthem part of it. It was very prideful. We're all standing. We're looking at the fan bases of the countries that's anthem is being played. It is pretty remarkable. What stood out to you in this World Cup from any aspect other than what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the stars coming out, that was huge. Messi, Mbappe, Holland, really just having these fantastic dynamic performances throughout the tournament. Even like the little guys, Cabo Verde was a wonderful story. I enjoyed that. Just the performances of some of these top teams. It was, England, the way they played. Jude Bellingham, I mean, really for me, coming out of this World Cup, Jude Bellingham, I think, is just going to become a superstar. I think in 4 years' time, this is really, I think, the player that we're going to be talking about a lot on the biggest stage. And England came so close to making that final, Argentina getting them in that semifinal. But I was really impressed with his game. And then, just all the major players really starring on the big stage. That was so great. And to see the American audiences really latch on to this tournament as well. I absolutely love that. I absolutely loved how this country, our state, Glenn, the state of Texas and the country as a whole, North America as a whole, really just latched on to these games and really enjoyed everything that the football brought and just the top performers, the games, everything about it was just it was so, as longtime soccer guys in this industry, in this state, it was so satisfactory and rewarding to see that.
Yeah, we have seen definitely the ups and downs and been up close and personal to that. When I look at playing professional soccer in Houston in the 80s to where it is now in the United States, it's pretty incredible. I love that part of it too, the hospitality part of it, the amount of people that were coming up just saying, wow, Americans are so friendly. It's like, hey, we got to get a better marketing firm out there for us Americans because we're pretty good people, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was so neat. I mean, one of my favorite stories. So I was based in Dallas for the tournament. So I covered all 9 games in Dallas in addition to the 2 games in Houston. And one of my favorite moments was I got on the elevator at the hotel there in Dallas. And I stayed right next to the stadium there, one of the hotels. And I got on the elevator and there were 4 Japan fans and they're all wearing their samurai blue Japan shirts. And one of the Japan fans, this man, he had on a cowboy hat, and he had just bought it. I mean, so it's just probably right out of the box, this straw cowboy hat. And this guy is just grinning from ear to ear. I mean, he's just so tickled to death that, here he is. He's in Texas. He's wearing a cowboy hat. And I just looked at him. I just said, you know what? You look pretty sharp. And he just, I don't even know if he understood what I was saying, but I mean, you could just tell he was having the time of his life. And it was those types of moments that were just so heartwarming to see, the Japan fans, the Netherlands fans there in Houston, that long march from Rice to Houston Stadium. That was awesome. The Argentina fans, they were packed inside Dallas Stadium for still like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm sitting there writing my post-match stories in the press box there in Dallas. It's an hour and a half since the game ended, and I could still hear them chanting and singing and jumping up and down on the concourse. It was something that, nobody around here in these parts had ever really seen. And that's what was just so great about it.
Yeah, that connection to the Texas culture was a very cool thing. And yeah, we had Japan here in Houston, which was great too. Talking to Arch Bell, FIFA reporter, editor, went to Furman, great soccer college.
There you go.
Obviously, has written for CONCACAF, Marca, and ESPN. Just full disclosure, I've been friends with Arch for quite some time. So let's switch gears here to Austin FC a little bit here. All right, 3-0 victory over Puebla here recently, 2-0 over Tijuana. Irvin Torres is somebody I saw you wrote about. I also saw him come off the bench against Seattle, produced 2 assists. He's an Austin FC Academy. Tell me a little bit about him, the importance of him in that market at a young age coming through the academy as well for Austin FC.
This is, I think it's a big development for Austin FC. This is really the first true academy graduate. Owen Wolf technically is known as a homegrown, but you and I both know a lot of his schooling came in the Atlanta United system. when his dad was coaching over there as an assistant. But Irvin has been a part of Austin FC since 2020. He was with the U14s, has made his way up through the academy, through the different youth teams, made his first team debut, I believe, last year, but now is starting to really make a case for himself for basically becoming a starting 11 every single time the team runs out. And he's now started the last 2 games. Got a chance to watch him in person last night against Puebla. Thought he was great. He played the first half in more of like a number 6 role, more of like a holding mid, and really didn't put a single ball wrong. I mean, just very calm, composed, plays simply, plays smart. Doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't turn the ball over in his own half in those bad situations. So very clean. And then they brought in Elias Sanchez to start the second half. So they moved Irvin Torres to more of an advanced role. And so while it's a different type of soccer he was having to play, he was still very good and just, moving the ball forward, finding those pockets of space. There was basically one pass that he missed connecting with Murto Zuni, who had a great night last night with a hat trick. But just really, really good at carrying the ball, dribbling the ball into the attacking third. So a good passer, smart, checking his shoulder, good vision, good intelligence on the field. And, I think this is a type of player who can really excite the fan base, because this is an academy kid, originally from Laredo, but he's now come up through the academy. I would love to see more and more of these kids for Austin FC come through the academy, get these first team minutes. Austin natives. I'm still waiting for the first kid from Austin to really make an impact with the Austin FC first team. I can't wait until that happens. But in the meantime, to have this academy kid, Irvin Torres, come into the first team and make a big impact has just been so awesome to see. And I really hope he gets the chance to do the same thing against Club America on Thursday. And there you go. That's into the lion's den right there. When you play a team like Club America and all right, let's see what you got, kid. And I hope he gets that shot.
He's Arch Bell. We all know the importance of locals playing for MLS teams from a marketing standpoint, connection. It is community. That is community. We hear an awful lot of the word being used and co-opted, but you want to show me community, show me people in your front office, show me players on the field. So to that, when you've been there at the stadium when he's playing, do you get the sense people understand he's a local kid, he's come through the academy, this could be something fun for us as a fan base to get behind a quote-unquote local?
I think definitely like your Austin FC fan stalwarts, I think they do understand that. They do know that. Maybe with some of just the regular people who, and by regular, I mean just they go to a couple games a year, they might not understand that. But, when they announced the starting 11 last night, and he was the next to last name, and he got one of the loudest ovations. So that's, those are little things that are important to pay attention to. It's okay, or people recognizing who this kid is. And I think that connection, that bond, seeing what he's done for the youth system and coming up and what he did for the next pro team, now with the first team, I think it is starting to resonate. And I'm here to spread the gospel. I'm hey, I love seeing the kids play on the first team, not just at Austin FC, but all around MLS. What the Red Bulls are doing, what the Philadelphia Union does, Real Salt Lake, what they've done. So I'm thrilled to see Austin FC embracing that, bringing up that academy kid, and yeah, that can get a fan base going. That can really make that connection with the fan base and draw more locals out to see these kids come up through the academy.
Arch, it seems strange to me. You've hired a coach, Jim Curtin, but he's not going to take over until in January. Is that kind of a strange and awkward situation? Because Davey Arno, who we all know and love here in Houston, is the interim coach. But it does seem a strange situation to me because without the top boss there, this gets into the mind of a player in a lot of ways, and it can be a negative thing, actually.
Yeah, Glenn, I honestly can't think of another time when in MLS, not even Austin FC, but I can't think of another occurrence in MLS when this has happened, where you have a coach in the waiting to begin in 6 months time or whatever it is. So it is strange. Davey Arnaud, as you know, I mean, a pro's pro, a guy who just, he's pretty selfless, and he's just here to try to get the very best out of that team. And I think, there have been some highs and lows for sure in his interim tenure, but I think overall doing well. He's done a good job here in Leagues Cup. So yeah, but it is a little strange. We'll see what happens, how this team fares the rest of the way in Leagues Cup, also in MLS play. But I think once, hopefully once Jim Curtin gets here, then you can have like that good stability. But yes, it is a strange situation, honestly.
All right, last one before we go here. Gilberto Mora, the star of the Mexican national team, the young talent that everybody's got their eyes on. Gilberto Mora came in with Tijuana. Austin FC wins 2-0. Did you get the sense, well, number one, how did he play that day? And then number two, did you get the sense that there was an uptick in attendance because of his being in Q2 Stadium?
Yeah, there was. I think so. Like you saw, there's a lot more, of the La Verde, but not the Austin FC Verde, but the Mexico Verde, because, Mora is a superstar. The kid was, as you saw, he was fantastic in the World Cup. And it still boggles my mind that, what is he? He's 17 or maybe just turned 18, whatever it is. He's still a teenager. He's doing a lot more. He's doing a lot better than I ever was at that age. So, there was definitely much more excitement with him in the building. His performance, I thought was average. I think they did a good job keeping him in check. What an interesting situation for him to have, the highs of playing in a World Cup, playing in a World Cup knockout round game against Mexico at a sold-out Azteca, and then he comes back and, what's the motivation like? But, he's a class player, and he'll continue to be that. And, once he gets over to Europe, I'm sure he'll really take flight. I thought he was average on the night, but yeah, there was definitely much more electricity in the building with him playing there.
Well, Arch, as always, thank you very much. It was a pleasure seeing you at the World Cup match in Houston. Keep up all the good work you've been doing, both, here in the state of Texas and then also nationally and internationally. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Glenn, thank you so much for your time, and all my best to everybody there in Houston.
He's Arch Bell. You follow him at Arch Bell on X, and he is working with FIFA right now as a reporter and editor, but you know him from his days writing for CONCACAF, Marca, and ESPN. That does it tonight here. Podcast to this show at ESPN975.com, also Spotify and Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to hit up our YouTube and TikTok channels, Soccer Matters. There's a lot of interesting content over there that doesn't get on these other channels, so go check it out. We did a lot of previewing of the city of Houston before the World Cup over there. For Brian McDonald, I'm Glenn Davis. Till next Tuesday.